All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We're going to give all praises to Yahawah by Shem Yahawah Shah by Shem Rakakadash. Say double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopeful elect. GMS St. Louis joined by GMS Dallas. No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. So we're going to talk about how the Lord has always fought for us, even the fights that we can't see. Because in this society we live, only to some of the things that we actually know. So the things that the Lord revealed so far of all the attacks that Esau has used and the other nations have used actually in hopes to try to exterminate us. And they tried this several times over. And it's only because really the Lord is with us is the reason why they haven't succeeded. When you go down to the minute details and the lengths that they have went to destroy us, like literally exterminate us. Like people devoted their entire lives in hopes of eradicating Israelites. That's how serious it is, and it can be recorded in the scripture, and even today, to the little things that we do know. Now, this video is called MAAFA 21: Black Genocide in the 21st Century American Full Documentary. Over 2 hours long, and it's talking so much about how during between the 1930s all the way up to the 1970s up to today, the push by these what they call eugenists to literally exterminate Israel. And that's the whole point of genocide, sterilization, Planned Parenthood. All of that is the foundation. Like most people don't know, the foundation of Planned Parenthood comes from a history of a methodical, diabolical, meticulous plan to eliminate us. And it's only now is accepted as all as women's rights, and they use safe words now like family planning. These things were set up specifically with the idea to destroy the Israelites. And some of you all might think, who will go to great lengths? That's these Edomites. And if you think I'm lying, you can go ahead and watch this video, and they break down everything. They even talk about how the NAACP was a bunch of sellouts, right? And how even Jesse Jackson, how he sold out. So they ain't hold no punches in this video here. So I'll start with, because bioterrorism was a thing, right? That's another example that they've used to try to destroy us. And I'll start with the Northern Kingdom. Like this here says the top 10 most devastating bioterrorism attacks in history. And one of the first ones on the list is the smallpox in the Americas. All right, it's short. It says when European settlers arrived in the Americas in the 1500s, they brought smallpox, a deadly disease that will have catastrophic effects on Indonesia's populations. While smallpox spread naturally among the colonizers because they're heathens, some accounts suggest that it was also used deliberately as an agent of bioterrorism against the indigenous tribes. European settlers allegedly gave smallpox, and it's not allegedly, but gave smallpox infected blankets to Native Americans, knowing these communities had no immunity to the virus. In an age without effective jabs or modern medicine, this tactic was malicious, causing the disease to spread swiftly and wiping out entire villages within weeks. The impact of indigenous societies was heartbreaking. As smallpox swept through these communities, it led to massive population losses. Some estimates say up to 90% of native populations were lost to European diseases, including smallpox. Families and entire villages vanished, and cultural knowledge that had been passed down for generations was lost. This widespread loss weakened indigenous societies at a time when European settlers were seeking to establish control over lands, making it easier for colonizers to displace indigenous communities and take over territories. Smallpox tragically became as much a weapon of conquest as the guns and ships that arrived with the settlers. The emergency response to the epidemic was almost non-existent, leaving communities helpless against the onslaught of disease. And that's what they did. So I'm gonna play some clips from this video. But if you can go ahead, brother, on that me go with that Psalms 82.
83.
83. So this is what they've done to our people. And they use these methods even when they have power in hopes to destroy us, like, completely. And that's no conspiracy. That's no conspiracy theory, but that is indeed a conspiracy. You go ahead, brother.
Okay. This is the book of Psalms 83, starting at the top. It says the Psalm of Asaph. Keep not thy silence, O God, power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, power. For lo, listen to this, because it's going to go on the line. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more in remembrance. Okay? For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
That is a conspiracy. Literally means to conspire. When they said cut them off from being a nation, it's more than just our lineage. I mean, it's like more than just our nationality and our history, but they've actually taken the steps to try to eliminate us permanently. And yes, they've done that several times over. Okay? I think I'm going to play. Let me play the first clip. This.
Of external guidance and support. Francis Galton, 1873.
Eugenicists believed that Africans were inferior not just mentally, but physically, and that left to themselves, left alone, they would not make it. The problem is, it didn't work. With that failure, the eugenicists moved on to what is known as positive eugenics. In positive eugenics, the eugenicists wanted the white population to reproduce, to have so many children that it overwhelmed the black population. But that didn't work either. Next, they moved on to what they called negative eugenics. They knew that they could not round up all the blacks in the nation and execute them, so they decided to create an environment where they would convince the blacks to severely limit the number of children they were going to have, and thereby commit race suicide.
So that's one. Let me play. Go ahead. Go ahead with that Psalms 64. Psalm 64. Like I said, I just took some clips from it, but the whole video is good. Like I said, they actually have physical evidence and newspapers and magazines and books of these people conspiring, especially like with Margaret Sanger, to destroy us. It's not a conspiracy. It's only now it'll be hard to get your hands on these things, but these things do exist. These conferences and these meetings that they have do exist, and when you hear them speak, you're like, oh my goodness, right? As he says, you're about to read. Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms 84, starting at the top. It says, prayer for deliverance from secret enemies. You see that? Okay. Starting at the first verse, it says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Okay. So this is King David praying. Okay. It says, hear my voice, O God, power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Okay. Verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Okay. From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. Okay. Okay. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They, listen to this. This is what the brother bring out. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Okay? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both their inward thought of every one of them and their heart is deep.
Right.
Okay?
And I'm probably going to have you read the rest, but that's the wicked. And this is the attacks that they have been attacking against us without our even knowledge, without our knowledge. Okay? Look at it this way. Okay? The fact that you're born now means that they failed, because their goal was always to eliminate Israel. And you can watch just that one video. The whole idea of genocide via sterilization. I'm gonna let you hear them, but they went to great measures to try to eliminate us off by way of abortions and birth control, and trying to convince our own people that it's better to not exist, right? Because they are eugenists, which means they believe in the strongest genes should live and the weakest genes should die. And so they actually look at our people as problems of the earth, and they work around the clock secretly, okay, to try to destroy us, to try to eliminate us. This is what they say secretly. They say, who shall see them, who shall know them? This is the wicked counsel, the secret counsel of the wicked. You know what I'm gonna do? Pull up this precept real quick. The book of Proverbs 26, right, verse 24 says, he that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him. You know what that means? He's preparing what he's about to say. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. So they prepare what they're going to say before they come to you, and this is what they did. You're going to hear it. Before they came to our people to try to convince them that it's better to not be alive or to have less children, they clothed it with cover words like family planning, right? Or health care. You know what I'm saying? They call abortions health care. This is how they speak. But the true intent behind it is to destroy you. So you want to say something?
I got a precept right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, starting at the 16th verse. And it reads, it says, I'll make this quick, get straight to the point. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. Okay? And it's talking about the Israelites, right? It says, for they eat the bread of wickedness. You see that? Okay? They doing wickedly, like the brother bringing out the eugenics, and they trying to wipe Jack off the face of the earth. But here's even more of a point. They drink the wine of violence, okay? And killing babies and birth control, okay? That's violence, okay? Because the child is considered a child when it's conceived in the womb. Okay, that's all I wanted to bring out, brother. Yeah. To add on to what you brought out in the book of Proverbs.
Just to correct this, them Edomites. You said slip of the tongue, Israelites, but it's understood.
Yeah, Slovakia, brother.
So let's play probably 3 more of these clips, right? So you can hear it for yourself.
Unceasingly spawning class of human beings who never should have been born at all. Margaret Sanger, 1922.
The laws of nature require the obliteration of the unfit, and human life is valuable only when it is of use to the community or race. Madison Grant, 1916, co-founder, American Eugenics Society.
The black man has never been a competitor, but has always been subservient to the white race. And just so long as he remains subservient, his position is secure. And just so soon as he becomes a competitor, his fate is sealed. Dr. Benjamin Hayes, eugenicist, 1905.
The American Birth Control League was wise enough to get their program of population control across by using what had worked in the past. The same code words that had established the institution of slavery and that was also used by the early eugenics movement was once again used by the American Birth Control League. The Margaret Sangers of those days did not come out and say they were trying to eliminate black people. What they did say, they were trying to rid society of the feeble-minded. They were trying to rid the society of the criminal. Well, she was successful simply because of her eugenics friends for the past 50 years had put those labels on minorities and African Americans, and therefore society was more or less desensitized. In effect, the code words hid the agenda of Margaret Sanger and the eugenist. At that time, they did shift over to what they call the quality of life. It was a philosophy unquestionably used to target the poor simply because what the quality of life at its core meaning was that poor people really didn't have or reason to live. Only the white, those with status, had any chance of a meaningful or purposeful life. The solution for the poor now was not to eliminate the circumstances that would cause poverty. Their solution now was to eliminate the poor, eliminate the impoverished, and just wipe them off the face of the earth.
Like, so you see, like we just read, they cover up, they change the words. So they say this is for quality, right? We're trying to rid the earth of misfit, unfit, imbecile, those words that they use, but they're talking about Israelites. That's why I say they even sharp bitter words secretly, so that what the solution they present doesn't actually catch your eye. So they got to be slick with it. This is how they operate.
Chapter 7, page 170. Birth control facilities could be extended relatively more to Negroes than to whites, since Negroes are more concentrated in the lower income and education classes. Chapter 7, page 176.
One thing I find very revealing about Chapter 7 is the first paragraph. Murdahl uses U.S. Census Bureau figures to show that between 1790 and 1940, the black population in the United States increased 17 times. At the same time, those Census Bureau figures show that the white population increased 37 times. However, neither Murdahl nor any other eugenicist wrote anything about what to do about that part of the population that was increasing twice as fast as the black population.
Gunnar Myrdal's book on how to resolve what he called the Negro problem was published in 1944 by Harper & Brothers of New York. 4 years earlier, the same company, which is today known as HarperCollins, had also published a book by one of the founding members of the American Eugenics Society. At the time that Harper & Brothers published these books, its president was a man named Cass Canfield, who would later become the national president of Planned Parenthood.
We hope that the restraint of population growth can come about through voluntary means. But if it does not, involuntary methods will be used. Dr. Donald Minkler, 1972.
Donald Minkler was the president of the American Association of Planned Parenthood Physicians and a member of the board of directors of Planned Parenthood Federation of America. Like many of those in the eugenics movement, he understood that their plans would not always be voluntarily adopted, and that the use of governmental coercion or even force might one day be necessary.
The idea of forced eugenics was not something that suddenly developed in the 1970s. In a 1929 speech, American eugenicist Samuel Holmes had proposed that mandatory birth control should be used as a tool to eliminate what he called the menace to the white race that had been created by increases in black population. His solution was to have a quota system in which the right to have a child would be controlled by the government and determined by race. At the time, Holmes was on the National Council of the American Birth Control League, which would later become known as Planned Parenthood.
Then, in 1936, eugenicist Julian Huxley proposed that the genetically inferior classes could be made to have fewer children if they were denied easy access to welfare. Another part of this proposal was that medical care to these same people should be restricted in order to reduce the survival rates of the children they did have. He also called for the forced sterilization of anyone who was unemployed beyond a certain length of time. Huxley was later honored by Planned Parenthood and was a featured speaker at one of their annual conventions.
The reality is that the views of people like Samuel Holmes and Julian Huxley were never uncommon within the American eugenics community. In 1969, a professor at the University of California, Dr. Garrett Hardin, called it insanity to rely on voluntarism to control population. Hardin was a member of the American Eugenics Society and an outspoken advocate of government-enforced birth control, saying that citizens should be willing to give up their right to breed for the betterment of society. In 1980, he was given Planned Parenthood's highest national award. He and his wife would later kill themselves in a joint suicide pact.
In the wrong hands would be more deadly to Negroes than all the tanks, riot guns, cattle prods, billy clubs, and shackles we have overcome in the past. Dr. Leroy Swift, obstetrician, gynecologist, 1968.
As it became clear that a growing number of African Americans were connecting the dots between birth control and black genocide, eugenics organizations began calling for the U.S. government to add birth control chemicals to the nation's food and water supply. It was even suggested that this strategy could be specifically targeted at urban neighborhoods. This idea was widely embraced in the eugenics movement and taken seriously enough by the government to be discussed at a 1969 meeting at the United Nations. Under the plan being considered, a couple could apply to the government for permission to have a child, and if approved, they would be given an antidote to the population control chemicals they had ingested in their food and water. Interestingly, the idea that government should have some sort of licensing agreement to regulate who would and would not be allowed to give birth was not a new one. In 1934, Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger had proposed that the U.S. government implement a system in which women would not have the legal right to have a child without a permit from the government, and that these permits would only be good for one baby.
But eventually, proposals like forced sterilization, chemicals in the food and water supply, and government control of childbearing were abandoned by most people in the eugenics movement. Despite the fact that many of them openly advocated such ideas, they would come to realize that there was really no practical way to carry them out. But for all their failures, what the eugenics movement had accomplished was to lay the foundation for the next phase of their plan. And this is where they would find the success that they had been chasing for over 100 years.
Now you see, we're going to hit a few scriptures. Now you see the lengths that they talk about are going. Okay? They're talking about putting birth control in the water and food supply, making everybody sterile, and you have to go to them to get the antidote if you want to have children. These are the things they talk about, all in hopes to try to destroy us. Do you see the lengths that they go? And the scriptures basically tell you that the Lord was always fighting for us, because if it wasn't really for him, we'd probably be destroyed. Because the lengths that these people went to try to destroy us, we only know a surface of how much the Lord has been fighting for us. And when we get in the kingdom, everything's going to be revealed. The Lord probably, you're going to say, look, you know them cell phones, you know, they really designed them to try to destroy your brain. The 5G, all these, we're going to see all the whole, you know, conspiracy, their meetings, and the things that they've actually said, like how they really are trying to kill the God gene, and the things that they was trying, and the Lord, like, I stopped that, I put an end to that, I made sure that it prevailed. Because if we actually knew everything that this man did in hopes to literally destroy us, okay, it'd probably, this whole world would turn upside down how mad Jake could be. We only know surface level. Many Jakes don't even know about this, you know, because these are things they was talking about openly. These bitter words is evil. Like I said, they devoted their lives. Like who would actually do that? Let's put it in the water and food supply, and then we get an antidote to anybody who we deem worthy. So you see the list that they really want to play God. You see, and this is the things that they've been working on. I gave you Psalm 64 if you don't mind. Yeah, we're gonna come back. I want to hit who I gave you the numbers.
You gave me Esther. Gave me this.
I gave you the numbers. You was gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say you never trust a man that creates the problem and try to give you the solution. You know, how you gonna put birth control and the water supply, then come with the antidote, and then find who's deemed worthy. That's how you know this man is your enemy. You know, he's the devil.
And like I said, they got actual newspapers. These are things they talk openly about to the public. Okay, this is some conspiracy. This is real. You just over here in 2025, and they did their best to keep all those things secret, and now everybody just acknowledges Planned Parenthood as a what do they call it? Like the name itself, Planned Parenthood, family planning. We're here to help. No, okay. The true agenda was to destroy our people. That's the true agenda, but they have to cover the names up, cover it all up. That's why the average black woman don't know nothing. They're just trying to help. No. The origins of it is they was trying to take you out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead with that numbers for the both, John.
I could just say, yeah, man, hey, these devils are very wicked. They are pure evil. They are your enemies to the T. Okay. I was gonna say something else, but I kind of slipped. But it'll come back though. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 22 and verse 1. Now the children of Israel set forth and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side, Jordan by Jericho. And Balak, son of Zippor, saw that all Israel had done to the Amorites, And Moab was so afraid of the people because they were many. And Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, now should this company lick up all that are round about us, and the ox licketh up the grass of the field. And Balak, son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites at that time. He sent messengers, therefore, unto Balaam the son of Beor, to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call them, saying, behold, there is a people come out of Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I want that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed.
Right, now you go to Deuteronomy 23. So you see, just like these Edomites, they say what? They look at us and then they get afraid. You know? Like, I didn't clip it, but earlier in the video, like this mark here, this Edomite here is explaining how the moment Jake got off the chains of being in slavery, now all of a sudden there's panic. Why? Because their ultimate fear is that the same thing would happen that we would do to them. Yeah, right, retribution. But at the same time, they got to push this garbage about, oh, you're inferior, you're unfit. But they did that out of fear,
Right.
you know? Because if we were really so worthless, why are you trying to exterminate us?
Right.
It's because of that fear. That's what drove them. But they had to tell themselves we're the special people, we're the better gene, and we should eliminate your gene. They use all these meticulous, evil ways to try to destroy us.
These Edomites are natural psychopaths. Only a psychopath would do some shit like that. It's kind of like somebody that believe their own lies. If I keep saying this to myself, eventually it'll become true. I believe it. That like a man like that needs to be admitted to a damn mental hospital. But he's like that naturally. And like the brother said, they come with the problem, they make the problem, then they come with the solution. So like all these many years, a lot of these Jays do need to be exterminated, but that was from the beginning. Just to justify the sword and them, breaking into our houses and killing us. How that's gonna be done? Martial law already over the United States are already down. Trump is setting the pieces in order to basically declare war on so-called Black America. Right?
You start verse 3 on that.
This is Deuteronomy 23 and 3. The Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter to the congregation of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation shall he not enter to the congregation of the Lord, because they met you not with bread and with water in the way you came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam the son of Beor, a Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee. Nevertheless, thy Lord thy power will not hearken unto Balaam. The Lord thy God turned the curse into a blessing unto thee, because the Lord thy God loved thee. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all the days forever.
See, now, you think Israel knew that? We only knew that after the fact. Oh, by the way, the Lord's like, by the way, okay, was he a Moabite or Ammonite? He was a Moabite. That a damn Moabite tried to get me to curse you, but I turned those 3 curses into 3 blessings. So these are the battles that the Lord has been fighting for us behind the scenes that we don't even know. You see, that's the whole point of this lesson. All right, if you actually knew everything that this man did in hopes to either make us be retarded, like have autism, the jabs, okay? If you actually knew the stint this man did to try to destroy us, when it comes to the food, when it comes to the healthcare, they actually plan and they actually say if we continue, pretty soon we can destroy them, because their goal is what? Reduce population. And who are they trying to reduce population of? The Israelites, because they believe if they can control us and get us small, then they can completely just eliminate us. As we read, they're trying to say cut them off from being a nation completely, not just in heritage, not just then in name too. So if they could do away with us altogether, that's what they would do. That's why they did all they did to us in slavery. All right, and the moment we free, now all there's panic. We gotta do something. You see, we gotta take care of the problem. Or else, just like Moab said, no, we're gonna have to do something. So we're gonna secretly conspire and curse them for me. You know, this is the list today is going.
Genesis 27, verse 40. Going back to Esau's blessing, he said to Jacob. It reads, "And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, "The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob." And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, "Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doeth comfort himself, proposing to kill thee." You know? So Esau still has that same mindset to this day. You know, he's still trying to slay his brother Jacob, man. And this is just Cain and Abel all over again, man. You know? And hey, through the Holy Spirit of Yahawah Shai, you know, Rebecca heard that and told her son, and hey, Jacob had to be he had to flee from him, man.
Yeah.
You know? Same thing that we gonna have to do, you know, because Esau finna come down with that great wrath, as in Revelation 12 and 12. You know?
See, look at that. I didn't even think about that. But that's the Lord fighting for us from the beginning. Because we wouldn't have known that unless the Lord revealed it to Rebecca. Mm-hmm. So he was trying to take us out right then and there.
He's trying to pull another Cain.
Yeah. You see? The Lord has always been fighting for us. You the guys don't realize, but the wicked elite behind the scenes, they're wondering why are they still here? The list we done went to, we done basically exhausted all options. Oh, we got one last option. Concentration camps and the microchip. And don't think that microchip won't have a dead man switch in it, because it will. They already gave reports that it's going to have cyanide in it. And that's an instant, and that's KO. And that's how they're going to subjugate all their people to compliance. Because they're going to say, we can pull the kill switch anytime. You know? And you already know who's going to be the target. You Israelites. Well, if you take that chip anyway, you done. You know what I'm saying?
You sure?
Yep. And play the, what was that?
Micro 2.
Yep, go ahead.
This is Micro 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily. But this time is evil. Right? So kind of, and it goes into Esau, that goes into all our oppression, because all you nations have oppressed us in some form or fashion. But the main one, like the brother read earlier, when you go into Psalms 83, the first nation that they mention is who? Edom. You know, because he's the one that hates us the most, because he feels like that we're in his way of his new world order. You know what I'm saying? Because look, that blessing was never given to you from the beginning, man. Right. You know, it was already predestinated that Jacob was gonna get the blessing.
And not to add, Esau is mentioned twice in there, man. He's mentioned as Edom and Amalek. So he's mentioned twice. That's going to show you how much of a problem he is, man.
Right. I know we're gonna read it though. You know, both those songs. All right, let me play these other clips. Like I said, these are just clips, but you can watch the whole thing, okay?
killed in the entire Vietnam War, and the largest chain of abortion clinics in the United States is operated by Planned Parenthood.
We have now reached a point in this country that African American women, though they make up 12% of the population, they account for 37% of the abortions. An African American baby is almost 5 times more likely to be aborted than a white child. The abortion industry at this point kills as many African American people every 4 days as a Klan killed in 150 years. And you can truly say the most dangerous place for an African American to be is in the womb of their African American mother.
All across America, you can stand outside of the abortion clinics and see a steady stream of black women coming in and out. But somewhere along the way, we got the idea that this is a white issue or a conservative issue or a Republican issue, and therefore it's not an issue that we have to be concerned about. This same attitude has allowed Planned Parenthood and other members of the abortion industry to carry out this genocide right under our very noses. Right now, in America, about half of our babies are being killed in the womb. And in certain parts of America, more of our babies are being aborted than are being born.
When 17,000 aborted babies were found in a dumpster outside of a pathology laboratory in Los Angeles, California, some 12 to 15,000 were observed to be black. Irma Clardy Craven, Chairman, Minneapolis Commission on Human Rights and Secretary of the Urban League.
To understand what the agenda was behind the legalization of abortion, all you need to do is look at the statistics from the U.S. government. Studies from the CDC show that prior to the legalization of abortion, approximately 80% of all illegal abortions were done on white women. One study in New York even found that white women had 5 times as many abortions as black women. But at the moment abortion became legal, that began to reverse. And that's why the legalization of abortion was so crucial for the eugenics movement. Legalization created the ability to market abortion in the black community. And from a eugenics standpoint, that changed everything.
These people cannot have it both ways. First, they say that birth control will reduce the number of abortions. Then they flood our neighborhoods with birth control clinics. And what's the result? Our abortion rate skyrockets. So either they lied about the fact that birth control would reduce
and bounds. To understand the magnitude of the dollars involved here, remember this. By 1970, Planned Parenthood was already the 19th largest health-related fundraising organization in the country. But by year 2000, it had moved into 3rd place behind only the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. And a major factor in that phenomenal growth was government funding. Basically, what's happened over the last 40 years or so is that Planned Parenthood has taken billions in government money while locating the vast majority of its facilities in minority neighborhoods. And that has not only been a tremendous boost for the eugenics movement, but it has also allowed government-funded family planning programs to target the black population while insulating the government from any direct connection to black genocide.
One of the places where government money has been used to advance the eugenics agenda has been in the public school system. Although government-funded population control programs can be found in white schools, the evidence is that they are significantly more likely to be targeted at black schools.
One example of this was seen in 1986, when it was discovered that Illinois public schools were not only distributing birth control to children, but that every one of the 50 facilities involved were in minority neighborhoods. When this information was made public, a local African-American pastor organized a campaign to stop the program. Reverend Hiram Crawford labeled the project genocide, saying that the obvious goal was to go after the Hispanic and black population.
That same pattern was in Maryland in the 1990s. Even though the state's teen pregnancy rate was higher among white students than black students, when the contraceptive device Norplant was introduced, it was selectively marketed to children as young as 13 in predominantly black schools in Baltimore. The result was that of the first 350 girls implanted at a local middle school, 345 were African American. Then, when Norplant was approved for general distribution, of the first 100 schools selected, all 100 were in minority neighborhoods.
The Norplant contraception device was developed by the Population Council in New York, which had been established in 1952 under the leadership of its president, John Rockefeller. Its next 2 presidents, Frederick Osborne and Frank Notestein, were both former members of the American Eugenics Society, and Notestein would later serve on the National Advisory Council of Planned Parenthood.
There is an element of racism in the motivation of some Americans who are promoting birth control. It's interesting to note that family planning abroad is being strongly advocated by some.
It was called the National Security Study Memorandum 200, or NSSM 200, and it was formulated in cooperation with the United States Agency for International Development, the U.S. State Department, the Department of Defense, and the Central Intelligence Agency. One of its goals was to establish a strategy for reducing the populations of third world countries so that the United States could have increased access to their natural resources, particularly minerals and metals.
Among the conclusions of NSSM 200 was that no country has reduced its population growth without resorting to abortion. The authors of the report then identified 3 non-governmental agencies that would be funded to carry out the government's population control agenda in the targeted countries. One of those agencies was Planned Parenthood.
One of the tactics specified in NSSM 200 was that we might withhold food aid after a disaster if the countries do not accept the American idea of birth control, and this has happened many times all over the world. One example is the Southern American country of Guyana, which was hit by a hurricane back in 1997. Now, they had turned down abortion and birth control for 12 years straight, but after the hurricane hit Guyana in 1997, the World Bank said, we will not give you any aid unless you legalize abortion and birth control, and that's exactly what they did. I've seen this several times in Africa, where droughts have hit, and the United Nations and USAID will not assist unless they accept birth control. I've been all through Africa myself, and I've seen medical clinics that are full of birth control devices, but no safe motherhood delivery kits. There's no anesthesia, there's not even any bandages there. There's crates and crates of birth control pills and condoms. Now, while our commitment to birth control is going up every year, our commitment to authentic economic development is dropping. So we see less clean drinking water funding, less school funding, see less medical clinic funding. Another example is Haiti. Haiti has been hit by hurricanes several times, and the United States and other countries are saturated with birth control. In Haiti now, any woman, 90% of women at least, can now get access to any kind of birth control they want to, government funded, but less than 20% of the Haitians have access to clean drinking water. Now try to imagine there being a natural catastrophe in a country like Canada or Australia or France or England. And we go in there and we say to them, we're not going to offer you any kind of aid unless you accept our philosophy on birth control and population control. That would be outrageous. But that's our standard operating procedure when we go to a black country after a catastrophe of some kind. You cannot believe that we are going to treat people in a foreign country like this and not treat our own population of African Americans the same way. Consider what happened after Hurricane Katrina. One of the first things we did was bring in birth control and contraception. And as we all know, the hurricane disproportionately affected black families in that area. And I seriously doubt if the same kind of disaster hit a middle-class white area, the first response would be condoms and birth control.
This idea that population control could be used to control a specific population.
Right, and he put it well. Right, you mean to tell me after the disaster, the first thing you're gonna offer the people is birth control? You know what I'm saying? And then go into the fact that they can control the weather too. This is just their manipulation and the way that they. And then if you go to the Georgia Guidestone, the first, because they're trying to mimic the Most High. The Lord put his laws on stone. They're trying to do theirs, and their first one is what? Maintain population under 500 million. So the depopulation agenda is big for them. It's literally real. So much so that they'll say that it's labeled as a quote-unquote conspiracy theory because everybody knows it's the truth. Anything they label a conspiracy theory more than likely is the truth. You see? So I just played a few clips from that, right? These are the lengths that they went to try to destroy us. And it's always been that case. And it's only because this is how many enemies we the Israelites have. We can finish off on that Psalms, what was that? 83. Let's read that list. You know, you don't just come up, you don't just work together with a meticulous plan like this. It ain't just, it's just a select few. No, it's all these Edomites. Okay? That's how they are. That's how they think. And you mean to tell me they ain't the wicked? They are the wicked. And second of all, that genocide will never work because the scripture says there's no end to all the people. So you can never completely wipe out a nation. But like the just judgment of the Lord says, that you seek to do will be done to you. You are going to be the only nation that's going to be completely cease to exist. You Edomites. And look at that. You work so hard to try to eliminate another nation. You're going to suffer that same fate. Right. Look at that. You can go ahead on that.
This is the book of Psalms 83. Starting at the second verse. It says, "For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacle of Edom and the Ishmaelites, okay, talking about the Arabs and the Moab, okay, which is going into the Chinese, and the Hagarenes, okay, Jabal and Ammon, okay, and Amalek. You see that? And the Philistines and Africans with the inhabitants of Tyre, okay. Philistines are Hamites, and Tyre are Hamites, which are the Africans, okay. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hoped the children of Lot, Salah.
You see? These nations, yes, they conspire against us. And we only know, like I said, the things we know about the things that they work together against us about. The Lord sees all things. Okay? And we're going to see everything that these other nations have literally tried to do to us, but it all failed. Because the Lord is fighting for us. Dwight, can you give me Exodus 1?
I got that. Absolutely.
Okay. Whoever reads it's fine. But I'm gonna jump into that Esther 16. So you're gonna read the first verse, and then you're gonna read the verse. Then you're gonna jump to verse 10. So you know the book of Esther. Okay, the book of Esther is about Haman, who we believe to be reincarnated as Vocab Malone. Okay, conspired to use his position to secretly eliminate the Jews, the Israelites. Right? This is what he did, but the Lord had already planted Esther and Mordecai before he could achieve. So you see, the Lord is always ahead of the game. And just like that man thought, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to use my position to get the king to destroy these people by saying a lie, the Lord had already had Esther and Mordecai set up to thwart that plan. And just like the Lord turned those 3 curses into 3 blessings, we turned that day into a holiday. You see, this is the Lord fighting for us when we don't even know it. Okay? He's fighting for us right now. We don't even know it. You can go into the chemtrails. You can go into the 5G. All right? You can go into using the black woman. You can go into all these things. When you get to the bottom of it, you say, this man is trying to kill us.
Yeah.
And that's meticulous planning. And them wicked elites are frustrated that it ain't working the way it is because we got the Lord fighting for us. We don't even really realize how much these angels are going to war for us every day. You go ahead, brother.
This is Esther chapter 16 and verse 1. The great king Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of the 127 provinces from India unto Ethiopia, and unto all our faithful subjects greeting.
So this is the king writing back after the fact. He realized this man tried to use me and deceive me, and this is the king going back to say, don't do the things that I told you to do, basically. And he's going to explain. You can jump to verse 10.
It reads, for Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, and from a distant from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us, had so far forth obtained the favor that we should toward every nation, as that he was called our father, and was continually under of all men, and as the next person unto the king. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceit sought of us the destruction as well of Mordecai, who saved our life and continually procured our good, as also the blameless Esther, partaker of our kingdom, with their whole nation. For by these means he thought finding us destitute of friends to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch had delivered to utter destruction, and no evildoers, but live by most just laws.
Yeah, see, because he lied about us. Figured out, he said, these Israelites, there are no evildoers, and they live by the most just laws. But how did he get the king to write? By, you can go read his letter. He deceived him. He said, these people are evil. And they rebel against the king. He lied on us. Right? He tried to use his positions to secret lie against us to destroy us. You see, to conspire against us. Right? But the Lord, like I said, he hit the Uno reverse, and he had already had Esther and Mordecai planted to overthrow that. And he didn't count on that. You see, you can read to 18.
And that they be children of the Most High and most highly living Yahawah, who hath ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner. Wherefore ye shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent unto you by Haman the son of Amadatha. For he that was the worker of these things is hanging in the gates of Susa with all his family. Yahawah who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts.
Yep, getting it back because he set the gals up. You know, he thought he was going to succeed. This is my way to destroy these people. I'm about to destroy these people. I lied on them. Get the Lord that already fought. He was already fighting for us. Okay, he had Esther be picked out for a reason because he already knew this meticulous plan that was going to things was going to throw down. Mordecai saved the king's life. All those things to win favor. So when it was time for the king to realize what was really going on, okay, the favor was already won in the eyes of Israelites. So who do we have to thank for that? Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawah Shai. You know?
And not only, that was a real proud devil too. He was basically showing Mordecai like, yeah, I'm gonna hang you on that right there. And not only did the Lord hang his punk ass on it, he hung his sons on it and his whole household. You know?
And just so, because you trying to wipe out a whole nation, your whole family gotta go, nigga.
That's right.
You know? I hope you listen to vocab. Okay? You don't think we know what you're doing? You ain't slick. We already know what you're doing. We've already called you out. We called you Haman, and we telling you over and over, you ain't never addressed because we already called you out through the Spirit. The Lord already, he got his whole life now is, I have to stop you. You see how serious these devils are when it comes to how much they hate us? He just can't go live his life. You know, he probably don't even care for a wife. No, he like, my newfound love is to destroy y'all. You know what I'm saying? He's just one of many devils. But we just read about, these people openly talking about destroying us. This is back in, during our parents' time, probably before our grandparents' time, trying to wipe us out.
It's crazy, man. And it's crazy how just everybody that had a problem with us is all back now. Throughout all our incarnations. Antiochus, and even Caesar Borgia back. Haman back.
Nero.
You said who?
Nero, which is Donald Trump. And Nero was known for setting the fire to Rome and blaming the Jews, blaming the Israelites, blaming the Christians. So we already know who's about to be the face of terror real soon. Whoever got the Exodus for you, start at 8.
Yeah, it's the book of Exodus chapter 1 and verse 8. It reads, Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there fallen out any war, they join us unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick and all manner of service. In the field, all their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Keep going. Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake unto the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, or Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when you do the offers of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them unto the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared Yahawah and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing, and have you saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto the Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered. The midwives come in unto them. Therefore Yahawah dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive.
Same tactics. Nothing new under the sun. Now they're just going to the womb, but prior it's the same thing. Kill them when they're born. Or kill them all, kill all the sons, because they know one man can bring back the nation. But you can save the women because they're no threat. And they can just make them slaves. Same thing, nothing new under the sun. And what was the motive behind all this? They saw that, oh, they're mightier and greater than us. So let's deal wisely with them. Let's try to destroy them. But what did the Lord embed in Israel? A defense mechanism that basically says the more hell we catch, the more we multiply. You know what that does to the enemy? That pisses him off, because he's like, well, damn, how do I stop him? You can't. Okay? How you going to take out an enemy with the more pressure you put upon him, the more he multiply? You see? That's why they was, losing their minds trying to do all that birth control. They're like, shit, and it ain't fucking working. And according to the testimony, more basically getting killed and more being born. So they got their hands tied. But by now they thought we would eliminate them by now, because they think carnal means. But the Lord is always fighting for us.
Yeah, just like you have a roach infestation. You set the bomb out trying to exterminate them. You come back in, you don't see them no more. Then you see one running across the floor. You're like, damn, I know there's a bunch of them in here still. Just like Israel, you ain't gonna be able to exterminate us, Esau. Because the Lord ain't gonna allow you.
Right, the more you oppress us, the more we will multiply. That's just what the Lord put in us. We find relief in sex.
Isaac and Rebecca.
Exactly. And to the IUIC guys, how do you think we multiplied and grew in captivity with one wife? No, that's exactly what the Edomites would have. That's exactly what the Egyptians would have wanted. We had multiple. How else do we do that? Because their argument is, well, we're in captivity. You can't. Wait a minute. When we was in Exodus, we was in captivity, weren't we? How do we multiply and grew? It sure as hell wasn't no one woman. So y'all can sit your asses down some. Let's go ahead and finish that Psalm 64. Christ, I can give you Isaiah 47 and 12. That'll do it.
What you want first?
The Psalm 64.
God.
Yeah.
You want to start back at the top?
You start at 6.
God. Okay. Can I start at 4?
Yeah.
God. This is the book of Psalm 64, starting at the 4th verse. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. And who is the perfect? The Israelites, okay? Okay. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not, okay? They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. And that's what the video went into. I mean, it was doing stuff way back from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, okay? Okay? Both the inward thought of every one of them and their heart is deep, okay? Talking about putting the stuff in the water, in the food, you know, in birth control methods, one after the other, okay? That's deep thought. That's deep concentration. That's a diligent search, okay? It says, but God's power shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, okay? Okay? And it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Okay? And that's what's happening today. Okay? The own Edomites are coming out against Edomites. Okay? And even Edomites are creating their own communities to separate from the rest of the world. Okay? Because of their shame. They ain't gonna come out and say that, but that's part of it. Okay? Okay, verse 9. And all men shall fear and shall declare the works of God's power, for they shall wisely consider of his doings. Okay? The righteous shall be glad in the Lord Yahawah, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Okay?
Right. So the point is, their evil community, their evil snares, the Lord is going to flip the script. And the things that they shall make their own tongue to follow, the things that they professing that they're going to do to us, the Lord is going to make happen to them.
Right.
While this is all him, while he's protecting us. You see, the Lord is always fighting for us. You know? And that's why, so everything they planning on us, the Lord said, don't worry, I'm going to flip the script on them. Because they think that you're defenseless. They think they think nobody's watching you. I'm watching you. You see? Okay, I'm going to read this. It's Lamentations 3:22. It is of the Lord Yahawah's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. So if it wasn't for the mercy of Yahawah, Yahawah Shah, we would be consumed. We got enemies all around us. They've been planning forever how to destroy us. Like we mentioned, our own women were set up, meticulously thought out, planned, focused concentration, okay? How to destroy the Israelites. And by all means, we can try to keep these people down. We can make them kill their children, and then, because they believe in carnal means, they actually believe that was going to work. Okay? But it doesn't work on us because we just multiply more and more. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord gonna judge them women that's willfully doing that. Don't get it wrong. A lot of them believe in that because they just want to be hoes without the accountability. Okay, but don't just because you got one or a lot that's gonna comply, is it gonna actually stop the Lord's program? Okay, they behind the scenes sweating, and these numbers keep increasing. You know, they knocking stuff over. What else can we do? Damn it, we didn't shit. You know, we try to convince them to die, basically. Oh, now they offering suicide pods. You know what I'm saying? All these things to try to kill people. You see?
And that's another thing. Like, not only is Esau doing it physically, he's doing it on a mental level too. You know, to like mentally fatigue. You know, which was talking about we subject to payments and all that, and these Edomites, they try to get in your head and make it seem like that you stupid and that you can't do certain things. You know, I mean, what did we just watch? Oh yeah, they're unfit. You know, you're stupid. You know, and that caused Jake to have a low self-esteem. So Jake basically feel like he worthless.
And that caused Jake to have some form of self-hate for himself, and now he want to bleach his skin and look like an Edomite. You know,
right?
You want to live like Edom, live like Esau. You know, I want to get broke. You know, or I want to climb mountains and shit. You know, like leave that to Esau, man. We are way much better than them. They do things to tempt the Lord, man. You know, that's how you know they are low-level people, because they live thriving off death, man. You know, you don't see Jake go in cave die. You know, you don't see Jake doing that.
Just got two more than that one. Numbers 23:23. The NIV says, there is no divination against Jacob, no evil omens against Israel. It will now be said of Jacob and of Israel, see what Yahawah has done. Alright? All them enchantments and whatever, hiring a sorcerer to try to curse us, it ain't gonna work. Alright? And in the end, it's gonna say what? See what the Lord did. We're gonna really see how much the Lord has fought for us behind the scripture. Talk about the angels fighting for us. Okay? We're going to really see in the kingdom the list that these men have done to try to destroy us. And how they work around the clock. Alright? They can't sleep, as we read, until they figure out how to way to destroy us. They're not at rest unless we were done for. You understand? And the Lord's fighting for us repeatedly all the time. You know? Even in your sleep. This is Isaiah 44:25, 24. Thus said the Lord Yahawah, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee of the womb. I am the Lord Yahawah that maketh all things, that stretch forth heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, and maketh their knowledge foolish. So the Lord makes these diviners mad because he's frustrating their purpose, as the book of Job says. Okay? He's not going to bring it to come to pass because we just read there is no enchantment against Israel. All right, bro, you can read that, Isaiah 47.
This is Isaiah chapter 47, in verse 12. It says, stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored for thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if that so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astronomers and the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon you.
Kind, you gonna read the rest, but there's the Lord saying, you wearied yourself literally in these sorceries and magic and left hand, all these methods to try to destroy us, man. You established foundations, okay, to destroy us. You made a profession out of it. You made it a curriculum in schools for people to go learn. I want to be an abortionist. You made that a path, a career path, right? All these things to try to destroy us. The Lord said you were wearied in the multitude of thy counsel. Let's see if it's gonna save you. You keep going.
Verse 14. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee.
That's right. So all of your magicians or whatever it is, they're going to be dropping like flies, which they already are. You know, I was talking about how I believe the Lord took out that chick. I'm ain't gonna say her name. The one that used to run YouTube with Wachowski. You know what I'm saying? Amalekite. And I believe the Lord did that strategically because before you couldn't say nothing about them damn devils. And I believe the Lord took her out to make way for more information on them to be brought out, because before you couldn't say nothing, man. You know, so that's the Lord weakening your power so that the truth can come out, and you're losing power, man.
And then when you go on social media now, it's a lot of deep, dark, secret things that these small hatters be doing, just flooding out there, man. Let's go to show you that the truth shall be declared, man.
That's right. You got anything else?
I got a precept. This is Psalms. Go to Psalms 55, starting at verse 16. Right. This is the book of Psalms 55, starting at verse 16. And this is believer David. Okay. It says, as for me, I will call upon God's power, and the Lord Yahawah shall save me. Evening and morning and at noon, I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. Okay. And that's Jake. You know, Jake crying out for help to Yahawah Shem Yahushua, right? He has delivered my soul in peace from the battle that was against me. Okay? And that's what the brother bringing up, that, we pray, we cry out to Yahawah Shem Yahushua, and he covered things that we don't even see, the things that we don't even know of. Okay? Yahawah Shem Yahushua is taken care of, right? Because we are a chosen and peculiar people unto him. Okay? We are the apple of his eye. Okay? For there were many with me. So there are many people against us. Different entities, nations, and whole businesses, okay? Like BlackRock, okay? That's owned by the small hats, okay? They ain't got nothing to do with Jake, not for real, okay? But here go the point. It says, God shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old shall I. Because they have no changes, therefore they fear not God, okay? Okay? Esau, Edom do whatever the hell he want to do. Why is that? Because the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, okay? But these evil people, they don't even consider or think about the God of the universe, that made the heavens and the earth, okay? They don't even consider that the people that they afflict, okay, belongs to the creator of the heavens and the universe, Yahawah Shem Yahushua, okay? Verse 20, he says, he hath put forth his hands against such that be at peace with him, okay? He has broken his covenant, okay? When he come over here, he destroyed the so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Gad, okay? All down in the islands, okay? Destroyed Jacob all down there, okay? And other nations that he made promises with. He destroyed everything he make a promise about. He goes against it and breaks it down, okay? Even with his own people, okay? With Russia, the Missile Treaty, okay? Russia like, fuck that. We gonna do what we gonna do, okay? Okay, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords, okay? And that goes what the brother's bringing out. Planned Parenthood. Well, what the hell is that? Okay, women's what they say? Women's health care. Okay, well, how about the rest of the body? How about do y'all operate on the liver? Do y'all operate on the heart? No, y'all concerned about the box that the woman is being unruly with. No accountability. Okay, so more specifically, the Jake woman. Okay, it says, cast thy burdens upon the Lord Yahawah, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. Right, so every time they try to do something against Jake, okay, they kill us, they try to kill us, they try to depopularize us. Yahawah Shem Yahushua make us come back stronger, like the brother brought out in Exodus chapter 1. Okay? Okay? And that goes into Acts 5 and 39. Where it says, be careful what you do to these men, which means the elect, but it also extends to his people. Be careful, unless you fighting against the Most High himself. Okay? Because the Israelites belong to the Most High. Okay? So if you're trying to fight against us, you're actually fighting against Yahawah Shem Yahushua. Okay? That's all I had.
Con, you got something?
Yeah, I got Ezekiel 25, verse 12. And it reads, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, because that Edom had dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, I will stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. Then I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger, and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahawah. So hey, it's gonna come upon a time, the greatest fear that you Edomites have is going to come to pass, man. And hey, Jake is going to have a field day whooping your ass in the kingdom, man. Because hey, we just scratching the surface of how much wickedness you do to Jake, man. And things are coming out more and more day by day of what you are trying to do to exterminate Jake. And like the brother said, what you are doing to us, it's going to come upon you double, man. So you trying to exterminate Jake, the Lord is going to actually go through with that, and you going to be exterminated, man.
That's right. Just judgment. Hey, so with that, we hope it was edifying. Till the next time we say Yahawah.
Shalom.